Star Wars is one of the most iconic and influential franchises of all time. From epic space battles to unforgettable characters, these movies have shaped pop culture for generations. But not all Star Wars films are good. Disney gave us so much dogshit that it is hard to decide which one is the worst. Today I'm ranking every Star Wars movie from worst to best. And at number 11 we have The Last Jedi, Episode 8. At the very bottom of the list we have the absolute dogshit, hated by almost all the fans. I don't even know where to start. The very worst thing that The Last Jedi did is a murderer to a legendary character, Luke Skywalker. In the original trilogy, Luke was the embodiment of hope, determination and faith in goodness, even in the worst times. Luke never gave up and always fought for a better tomorrow. Meanwhile here, he is presented as a fool and a coward who doesn't give a damn about everything and everyone because of the fall of his order. He left his family behind and became an old fuck, unable and willing to do anything. This is the main hero of Star Wars? Rey, who is the main character of the sequels, was so bloody powerful even before all this training with him, and during all this training, she didn't really learn anything. She just found out that Luke is a miser, but hey, maybe the other characters were great. And so we have the worst Star Wars character ever, Captain Holdo and Holdo Maneuver, which is all idiotic. Finn, who was a promising character, became a boring and predictable, and his entire love story with Rose made me cringe. We also got some great lightsaber duels, which I would make better with my grandma as Rey. And this whole movie is in general shit, and it deserves the last spot. Next up we have The Rise of Skywalker. Now this movie is just barely better than The Last Jedi. First up, we have our beloved Resistance, looking for some, I don't know, ancient things? Then they find out that Palpatine is alive and he wants to blow everything up. Palpatine somehow returned and now great heroes must defeat him. So excited. Then he spawns 1000 fucking Star Destroyers with a cannon on the bottom, and then the Resistance tries to destroy them, and then Rey says she is all the Jedi and somehow kills Palpatine, and boom, everything is great. Then Rey thinks she is a Skywalker, and that's the end. Great movie. I must admit that yes, this movie tried to fix some things, but did them idiotically. To be fair, even though I was a massive Star Wars fan at the time this movie was released, I did not care at all, and I did not see anybody else care. The Last Jedi killed all the excitement for the next part, and now nobody talks about this. Anyway, let's go to the next. Next up we have The Phantom Menace, Episode 1. This movie is already watchable. What's more, I think it's pretty cool. It has a lot of interesting stuff like Qui-Gon Jinn or Darth Maul with one of the greatest Star Wars duels, the Duel of Fates. But things like Jar Jar Binks makes this movie a freaking joke. I never take it seriously and I just find it kind of lacking. Young Anakin was kinda mid and the movie had a lot of slow and boring moments that did not fit into the packed with action franchise. Also, if you are watching all Star Wars movies, it would not affect you much if you skip this part and move to the second right away. Overall, this movie is worth watching, but it has some downsides. Next up at number 8 we have Solo, a Star Wars story. Now this movie gets a lot of hate, which I do not really understand. I think this movie was very well made. It was a story of young Han Solo, how he met Chewbacca, how he got the Millennium Falcon, etc. I think the actors were great, the characters too, and the movie overall was good. But for me the thing is that it was very unnecessary. I think they could make a comic from this movie and it would be more than enough, really. Nobody really needed this story and it did not change the character much. Still, I think it is a really decent and worth watching movie. Next up we have Attack of the Clones, Episode 2. So let's start with the downsides, because there are a lot of fans who do not like this movie. First up, the CGI, which was kinda terrible, Anakin and Padme romance, which was one of the worst in history I think, of romances of course, but it has also some advantages. I think that it was pretty good prequel and it showed us a lot and answered a lot of questions after the trilogy. For example, how the clone army was created, who was even the clones and all that. Characters like Count Dooku introduction was also great, but they were maybe underused. And the story was nice to watch. Still I know how much hate it gets, but I think it deserves a 7th place. Next up at number 6 we have The Force Awakens, Episode 7. The best of the sequels and a promising movie. A lot of people hate it because of the next two movies, but I think it is actually pretty good. The new characters like Finn, Poe Dameron, or even Rey were promising and I felt invested in their story. I think all of them had an interesting arcs and I wanted to see more. Kylo Ren is also one of the most interesting villains in Star Wars, at least before the rest of the sequels came out. And he got an awesome freaking lightsaber. That design was really creative. Princess Leia was used in a good way, leading the resistance and fighting for the better. Captain Hux and the Starkiller base were really cool. Unfortunately, as you probably know, Hux was later ruined in The Last Jedi. But there is one character that has been totally ruined and fucked up, which puts this movie much lower. Han Solo. This character underwent a transformation in the original trilogy. From a person who only cares about money and doesn't give a damn about rebellion or fighting for a better tomorrow, now he became the hero we love so much. Meanwhile, in this movie he literally went back to what he used to be and his entire arc lost its meaning. He became a loser and a divorcee, then he went to confront his son, alone because Leia was too chicken, and then he died. One of the legends that was first templed and then killed. What the fuck? This is one of the reasons some people hate it, regarding another two movies. Next up at number 5, we have the legendary New Hope. Now this movie is not that amazing in general, but it is the beginning of Star Wars, the first movie of the franchise which brings a massive nostalgia to every Star Wars fan, and it has a special place in our hearts. This movie is basically simple and great at the same time. The story is really easy to follow, it is really simple, and it is not complicated in any way. The characters introduced are all interesting, and watching this movie for the first time was an amazing experience. Basically, George Lucas could make a simple story that was so exciting and so amazing. However, I still think that it is the weakest of the original trilogy, yet it has been premiered in 1977, so it will be soon 50 years old. The other films of the originals were just better, because the story and characters were similarly awesome, the quality, dialogues and speed were just better. Then at number 4 we have Return of the Jedi, Episode 6. This movie is, I think, an amazing finale to the originals. It ends the trilogy very well. Anakin's redemption and his interactions with Luke were amazing. His duel with Luke, same. Palpatine was great. All the other characters were great. New characters were great. This movie is in general great, and I remember it being one of my favorites a few years ago. However, this movie focuses too much on the new species, Ewoks. I really like Ewoks, they are little funny creatures, but this movie is in general just one big battle and that's all. Other movies with the same length consisted much more, and I think this one could have been more developed at the beginning, because we only see Endor and probably that's all. Anyway, it is still an amazing film. Now you probably know which 3 movies are the best, but there is only one legendary best Star Wars movie, so stick out to see what is it. Straight up at number 3 we have The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is the best of the originals, and here's why. Firstly, the overall quality got much better, not only the CGI, but also the actors' performances. Moreover, this movie dived much deeper into the overall plot, showing us a much darker side of the war and giving us a lot of cool stuff like Hoth or Yoda introduction. And the most important thing of all that is that was great from the beginning to the end, no bad parts. The duel between Vader and Luke is one of the most interesting, and it was much better than Obi versus Vader in The New Hope. This movie showed us the good guys do not always win, and that people need to sacrifice sometimes to save the others. The character arcs like Han Solo's, Leia's, Luke got much more interesting, and they dived deeply into the psychology or past of them. Vader got so developed that he became the greatest villain of all times. Summing up, this movie is truly an amazing in all means. Then at number 2 we have Rogue One. This movie used to be my favorite for a long time. The actors, dialogues, characters, plot, amazing. CGI from another planet. The story is heartbreaking and very poetical, and the ending always gives me shivers in a lot of moments. The iconic Vader hallway scene, which is probably the best scene in Star Wars and the best space battle ever, the Battle of Scarif. This movie is in general perfect, and I freaking love it. It is the first movie where all the main characters or even side ones died. This ending was tragic and happy at the same time, but it gave us so many morals. The whole arc is the sacrifice for the greater good. I love this movie just so much. Though there is one problem, that the first half of the movie is kinda slow and even sometimes boring. If we compare that to the ending, that is a way abyss. And at number 1 we have Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. Revenge of the Sith is an absolute masterpiece that delivers everything a Star Wars fan could hope for. Epic battles, emotional storytelling, and a tragic yet powerful conclusion to the prequel trilogy. From the opening space battle over Coruscant to the heartbreaking duel on Mustafar, Revenge of the Sith perfectly balances action, drama, and the way of destiny. The film masterfully portrays Anakin Skywalker's descent into darkness, driven by fear, manipulation, and his unwavering love for Padme. Hayden Christensen delivers his most compelling performance, capturing Anakin's internal conflict, while Ewan McGregor shines as Obi-Wan Kenobi, portraying the sorrow of a Jedi forced to fight his fallen brother. The visuals and choreography are stunning, with some of the best lightsaber duels in the entire saga. The score by John Williams is nothing short of legendary, with tracks like the Battle of Heroes and Anakin's betrayal elevating the emotional stakes. The film also seamlessly ties into A New Hope, setting the stage for Darth Vader's reign and the future of the galaxy. Overall, Revenge of the Sith is not only the strongest entry in the prequel trilogy, but also one of the most impactful films in the entire movie history. It delivers a tragic, powerful story that resonates with fans and deepens the mythology of the franchise. I hope you like my ranking. Make a ranking for yourself and paste it in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Once again, feel invited to our Discord server and may the Force be with you.